the biggest obstacle, the biggest problem for the Muslim world is our own regimes, it's our own systems, it's our own societies. What are the Muslim rulers scared of? I don't buy that they are scared. I don't think they're cowards. This is not cowardice, bro. This is treachery. We're an ummah of 2 billion refugees that are divided between these 50 or so power-hungry villains. And unfortunately, we as an ummah are the victims amongst all of this.
Welcome, guys, to the Revolutionary Pod. This is episode 18. Today I have a guest with us. His name is Lukman. If you want to introduce yourself, bro, what do you do and your handles and that?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, my name is Lukman. I think you reached out via TikTok.
Yeah.
So I make few videos, educational, political, some would say controversial, and I've been doing a bit of activism on social media, up and down unis, that kind of stuff, different events, probably the past few years now. And yeah, I'm just jazakallah for inviting me here. It's, good to be, well, never amazing to be in London, but it's good to be on a podcast, and to talk about things which really matter.
Yeah, no, well, it's a pleasure to have you on, bro. I was seeing on your profile picture that you were doing like speeches. Are you doing like speeches and like rally? What is?
But it's a bit of everything, to be honest. So, first off, it probably started. We ran a youth club.
Yeah.
In Stoke, but we were very, very young then, and we tried to keep youth off the street.
Yeah. We have that as well.
Yeah, give them a bit of guidance, whatnot.
Like a Muslim youth club.
Yeah. So mainly for the Muslim community, Muslim youth, and get them off the streets, drugs, postcode beef, that kind of stuff. Then when I started college and then university, that's where you start having a bit more deeper interactions, real conversations. And even for myself, it was like a learning curve. I'm a 16, 17, 18-year-old, brought up in the UK as a Muslim, massive societal pressures, massive kind of, media campaign and this kind of stuff about Islam. So it's about finding myself as well. And then really in university, that's when, alhamdulillah, had opportunities for talks, speeches, workshops, khutbahs. And then, like you mentioned, I was able to do other talks for other events, demonstrations, protests. And then the social media kind of came part and parcel of it as well.
The main content I've seen from you, how I discovered you, is your criticism of like corrupt Arab governments, Muslim leaders.
Yeah.
How did you like get into that? What made you get into that?
I think I know some people don't like talking about politics, more so, so-called Muslim regimes, Arab regimes, Islamic regimes. But really, I think like when you take a step back and you look at the Muslim world in particular, like it's very easy just to blame the West. Very easy just to blame Israel or, the Mossad agent under every kind of pillow and vase. Actually, in my opinion, like the biggest obstacle, the biggest problem for the Muslim world is our own regimes, it's our own systems, it's our own societies. Because we can point the finger at whoever we want, but really, if we have the potential, the capability, the power to create change, well, then what's stopping that? Yeah, you can argue that definitely the West has a huge interference, a huge hand, but it's our own people, our own regimes, our own government. So really, it was about looking at these people and saying, well, hang on, every single one of your actions that you're doing is against the interests of your own people. Like, how does that make any sense?
That's such a great point. Honestly, I was going to say that Gaza kind of awoken us up to see what's wrong in our communities. And it's the video I saw of you was you in Hajj, where you were where you said some crazy stuff. You were like talking about MBS in Hajj. You just didn't care, but I kind of
it's crazy. That was literally about 10 days before October 7th.
Yeah.
And I was in Makkah. I was at Umrah. I come back from the Haram. I went back to the hotel. You're just scrolling through WhatsApp, and there were like loads of these different articles about Saudi's step towards normalization with Israel, the Zionist entity.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm here now. I'm in Mecca. I'm in the birthplace of Islam, and the people who have authority over Mecca, they are like, you're normalizing, you're making deals, absolutely treacherous, betraying deals with these people who are openly occupying and oppressing, Muslims and non-Muslims, Muslims and Christians who are being oppressed in Palestine. So for me, it was like, I'm in the prime spot, like almost a sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I've got a message that I can make, and that really didn't sit well with some people. I mean, the wide kind of response was positive. But then you had some people who are
Saudi nationalists.
Saudi nationalists, government loyalists, and they are like atting they're
bots. Bro. Just ignore them.
They're atting the Saudi government, deport this guy or make sure he's not allowed back into Umrah and this kind of stuff.
Were you not scared that? You don't think they would do you think they would jail you? Like, they could have maybe jailed you for that, no?
They could have. I didn't post it in Mecca, so I didn't post it whilst I was at Umrah.
Okay.
I'm not that stupid, I hope. So I made the video, sent it back to the UK.
Delete it off your phone?
Cleared it off my phone.
Oh, okay, so you actually took steps.
Yeah, because bro, like, these people will, the moment they get a little sniff that you've done anything anti-regime or anti-government or anti-anything, you didn't salute Bin Salman's poster when you walked in the hotel, they will like, and funnily enough, it was actually, I was there during Saudi National Week.
Yep.
So people had like the green and white paint and MBS and his dad and his granddad and blah, blah, blah. You had pictures of all them stood up. So, it is dangerous. You can, like, if I posted that there and then and I got caught, it could have been difficult for me.
Yeah.
So I recorded it, sent it to the UK, swiped my phone clean, and then carried on. And I only edited it and posted it whilst I came back. Yeah, I can pretend to be like this kind of brave nutter. Well, no, you do have to take precaution.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like, you don't think the UK embassy would have saved you? Nothing like, they're fucking useless, bro.
Bro. I mean, if you look at, there was something that I've seen not long ago where I don't know if he was a British national, but he was living in the UK. He had like Saudi heritage. A few tweets he posted online. I think he had like 40 followers. Nothing. He went to Saudi on holiday and they arrested the guy. You see, they picked him up, and I don't know what's of him today.
They just go missing.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so crazy that. By the way, all these things are totally un-Islamic. Like, that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like, people used to insult him and he didn't do anything, and he told the Sahaba to not harm them, not anything, because Islam is not a dictatorship, bro. Do you get it? It's not. These things are totally un-Islamic, so I have no idea why they're doing that now. But and it's crazy that, for example, let's say if you criticize the regime, I might not be able to go Hajj now. Maybe I can't do Umrah, I can't do Hajj, but that the Israeli Minister of Communications is allowed in Saudi Arabia. He was in Saudi Arabia dancing around in the desert doing his rituals or whatever. Pete Hegseth, a guy who has a kafir tattoo on him, who's a known genocide supporter, known Islamic hater, he was allowed in the palace of MBS. MBS shaked his hand, he welcomed him. So why are these guys allowed who are enemies of Islam? And why are we not allowed when all we're saying, we're not even asking, we're not saying anything violent. We're not saying go kill MBS, kill. We're saying, just, can you at least support your brothers more? Can you know what I mean? That, why are we not allowed to do Hajj, our basic obligation, and these men are just walking around?
But I think there's an assumption, isn't it, across the Muslim world, which is that because it's Saudi Arabia and they have, kind of that governance and authority over Mecca and Medina, that they somehow not only represent Islam, but they are like the upholders and the maintainers. In fact, their own title is the custodians of the two holy mosques. But really, bro, like Islam has absolutely nothing to do with the governance, the ideology, the structure of Saudi. You know what I mean? Same, like if you asked any Muslim, what do you think of Iran? Do they implement Islam? They will say no, obviously not. They're not implementing Islam. But why are they biased? Because Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran. You have
Yeah.
the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. You have the Islamic Emirat of, I don't know, whatever, Islamic
Yeah.
Sultanate of Brunei. But really, it's just in the name.
Yeah.
And it stops there. It's in the name. It's a few words in the constitution. And the rest of it, bro, is completely un-Islamic. So there's assumption that Saudi have to uphold Islam. No, they have never
Yeah.
upheld and maintained the ideological, political aspects of Islam. Do you see?
And they've only waged wars against Muslims. All their wars have been only against Muslims. They've never done anything against any occupier. America, when they invaded Afghanistan and Iraq, they didn't do anything.
No, bro, not
fact,
only against Muslims, they've waged war against Muslims on the behest of the US.
Yeah.
It's been on the behest of the West.
Yeah.
It hasn't even been for their own, nationalistic kind of endeavors. It's been for a foreign nation,
Yeah.
and they're doing their dirty work for that
Yeah.
against supposedly their own people.
Yeah. Let's switch it up a bit. Let's talk about the ceasefire in Gaza. What do you think about it? Do you think it is a real ceasefire? Do you think it will last? Do you think it's anything?
Bro, we've been here now. Was this number 4 ceasefire since October 7th?
Yeah, this one's probably the longest permanent one. Permanent.
Yeah.
You get me?
I think what it is, bro, when it comes to ceasefires, number one, you got to look at the actual the points of the ceasefire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Trump, he had like this 21
Plan.
point plan. Yeah. Which by the way, from the Palestinian side and from the Israeli side, they haven't agreed upon all of them. Like, for example, one of the agreements, one of the conditions was for the complete disarmament of the Hajj group and the other
You can say
fighters.
it. You can say it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like Hamas and the other resistance fighters. One of the conditions was their complete disarmament. Obviously, they know, and everybody knows that they are not going to disarm.
Yeah.
From the Israeli side, it was meant to be a complete withdrawal. One of the Palestinian requirements was a complete Israeli withdrawal. They said, no, we're just going to withdraw a few kilometers, behind, but still in the Gaza Strip.
Yeah.
So you've got that, which is the condition of the ceasefire. And then on top of all that, bro, you've got the ceasefire broker, the guarantor, the person, the people, the government who is going to supposedly enact the ceasefire and make sure it doesn't break. And that is the US, who has been supporting Israel. They've been supporting this genocide that's taking place for the past 2 years, and in fact, even before that. So, we should not be under any assumption that this is a real ceasefire. What is the timing of the ceasefire? Is it going to be a permanent ceasefire? I mean, you're under occupation. Yeah, you're under a blockade. And even having said all of that, it's been a week or two since the ceasefire, and it's already been broken unofficially.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already been broken numerous times from Israel. They, in fact, on the day and the day after the ceasefire, bro, I think they airstruck more than 40 or 50 children at these different aid sites and orphanage sites and medical sites and this kind of stuff. So, what ceasefire, bro? I don't buy it personally.
Definitely not. And by the way, what they withdrew to the borders that you said. So they still are in the Gaza Strip, correct? And what's crazy is that all those buildings that were destroyed, they basically withdrew to the point where it's like just pure destruction, right? What people don't understand is that those places have already been ethnically cleansed. Like, ethnic cleansing has officially happened because no one can live there. It's rubble. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've seen pictures of Hiroshima, but I genuinely think Gaza might be the worst one, maybe even in history, because the document, like, they didn't have Twitter back then. They didn't have Instagram back then. So we didn't see the scale of destruction. But even through that, I can still see that Gaza is like a bit of a special case. No?
It's crazy as well. Like, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, huge metropolitan cities. And obviously Japan was like a massive country in and of itself. It was estimated about 120k per bomb. So you're probably looking at close to 250,000 direct death. Just the unaccounted people that we know right now in Gaza is around that number. Yeah, that's let alone the further missing people. That's let alone people that have died because of a lack of medical infrastructure, normal basic social infrastructure, this kind of stuff. Some estimates, bro, have said it's more than 500,000. That's double Hiroshima and Nagasaki in a population of 2.4 million people. You're talking between 20 and 40% of the population has been butchered, bro. And that is and for me, that is worse than Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Do you see? And again,
which is still obviously a major
which is which is a complete wolf then. I'm not trying to
no. Yeah, but yeah. No, that's insane, man. But let's talk about Hamas. So I said that like the world's like strongest weapons, state of the art technology, all the West backing it, they couldn't manage to defeat a small guerrilla warfare group. The whole world could not, because they still haven't claimed Gaza City, like they still haven't taken the whole thing. So how is it that these Muslim leaders are scared when our numbers are in the billions? There's 2 billion Muslims, yet all the West and its power couldn't defeat a small militia group, Hamas. They're still standing, bro.
No, 100%. I think what it is, bro. Firstly, if you look at like modern day warfare technology, the warfare and military today are prepared to fight conventional armies. Do you see? They're not made to fight these kind of guerrilla tactic, hit and run kind of militia groups. Yeah, armies today are designed to fight other conventional armies. Now you've got technology. You got little drones that can carry small detonations for a couple of £1,000 that are being dropped over, certain rockets or missiles or whatever. It's like for example, Hamas have been firing these very cheap rockets into Israel, and the interception, bro, can cost between half to up to $1 million just to intercept a drone that is like, a few thousand dollars. So financially, it doesn't weigh up. But back to this point of what are the Muslim rulers scared of and this kind of stuff. I don't buy that they are scared. I don't think they're cowards. Because that is that's a safe face for them. Because cowardice means, bro, that
coward is not an evil person, technically.
Yeah. Coward is, I really would like to do something about the situation. I really would like to exert my efforts and try to change the difficulty that I'm going through. But because of my fear, I'm not able to. Because of my fear, I'm paralyzed to do that. That's cowardice. And that is kind of blameworthy in its own right. This is not cowardice, bro. This is treachery.
This is treachery. Evil.
Like cowardice is you're coming to attack my family, but I'm too much of a coward to do anything. Treachery is you're coming to attack my family, I'm going to fund you, I'm going to support you, I'm going to clothe you and feed you and give you the weaponry to attack my own family. That's treachery, bro. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. Do you see? It's a much deeper issue than the cowardice of the quote unquote Muslim regimes. It's the treachery and their participation in this, bro.
110%. But what do you think is the potential of an ummah of 2 billion people? Like I genuinely think we could have liberated Palestine in a day. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. No, without even a drop of blood, like just straight sanctions, straight anything we could have done. We could have liberated it.
Bro, it's funny. There was this, I'm not a big fan of the Pakistani military elite, but one of the, I can't remember if he was a brigadier or a general, he said that they can defeat Israel in 12 hours. Yeah. And I don't, honestly, wallahi, I don't deny, I don't kind of doubt that.
Yeah, the diaper army, they're scared. They only know how to shoot like innocent women and children.
Yeah, 100%.
They can't face any real...
Bro, within a day, like, you switch off the oil from Turkey, you put a blockade on the Mediterranean, again, from Turkey and Egypt, all the land routes from Jordan, Egypt, Syria are blocked. What are you going to do?
You put some good preachers in the Haram that aren't just making dua. They're saying, Ummah, we need to move. Just that's a basic requirement. These are modest requirements. I don't know why people are... But yeah, I mean, the flotillas was a good attempt, though, from the West. Like, the West is acting more than the Muslim countries. Do you agree with that? The people, obviously not the governments are obviously...
Yeah, the governments are all complicit.
Yeah. West and East, they're all
Maybe
complicit.
You can argue Spain, Italy, Ireland, they were a bit more kind of mellow. But all the governments, barring them maybe, have been complicit. From the East to the West, Muslim, non-Muslim regimes. In terms of people, bro, so like, look, there was it was called the Samud convoy. Started in, I think, was it Morocco? Moved
Tunisia,
over to
maybe.
Was it Tunisia? Tunisia, Algeria, Libya, Egypt, and then they got to Rafah, stopped. Yeah, because they, you know, obviously the Egyptian
Sisi regime
authority.
is a
Yeah,
joke.
exactly. There have been protests up and down the Muslim world, from Jordan, Turkey, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Indonesia. Huge protests. They haven't, unfortunately, gotten anywhere past protesting and demanding. The flotillas, again, because like Greta Thunberg and these people have been the face of it, but the majority of people on these flotillas are Muslims. Yeah, majority of them. In fact, there was even I think it was an Italian man. He reverted on the flotilla.
Yeah.
After he reached, I can't remember exactly how far they went into close to Gaza. So I'd say the Muslims are at the forefront of this. You have a lot of dominant faces though, like Greta Thunberg. You have a lot of dominant kind of parties like the Socialist Party, like Pal Action, who have maybe been the louder voice in all this, and the media will give them more attention, because really, if you look at the solution that they're calling for, they're actually solutions which are in line with the current status quo, whereas some of the solution that the Muslims are calling for, especially from the Muslim world, is very, and I don't like to use the word because it's nuanced, but it's very radical. But radical in the sense of it's very, very different. It completely rejects the current world order.
Yeah, it goes the whole way. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what they're not gonna showcase. Also, we do need to be fair. You can get away with saying things in the West, in the UK, for example, as a Muslim, even that you cannot even think about saying in the Muslim world. Do you see what I mean? Like half of the things that you can say in the UK, if you just said that in Egypt or in Turkey or in Pakistan or in Saudi or in UAE, you're gonna get picked up. Yeah. So there is this aspect of genuine fear, genuine pressure from the regimes in these parts of the world, where it seems as though a lot of the activism is like dead and dry.
Yep.
It seems as though the Ummah might not be as on it as we think, when in fact that's not necessarily the case. Because every time you see a bit of loosening of the noose, bang, you see sparks. Look at Bangladesh, really good example. Look at Syria, really good example. The moment the regime fell, the moment there was a bit of leeway, a bit of space for the Ummah to show her true emotions, you thought, wow, this is like something which is, I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
You know, and it seemed to have come out of nowhere. But it's not that it came out of nowhere. It's always been there. It's always been underground. It's always been kept hidden. Because Sheikh Hasina of Bangladesh, she would have lobbed your head off. Do you see? Bashar al-Assad in Syria, you mentioned certain things then. You would have been in Sadnaya prison, you would have been long gone. But the moment that kind of space was created, the Muslim, you can see that. You can see that the Muslim, the East and West, if they're not saying it themselves, they're supporting them. Yeah. So I wouldn't say necessarily that the West have outdone the Muslims from that point of view.
Yeah. But I still feel like Greta Thunberg is radical, though. Like, I think does she say she wants two states as well?
To be honest with you, I've not really looked into her, what she called for. I know that obviously the usual kind of we want justice and freedom for the Palestinians and this kind of stuff. Exactly what that means, exactly what that looks like. Is there a one state Palestine and Israel? Is there a two state? I'm not too sure, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. Also, the journalist that was slain, do you know him, Saleh al-Jafarawi? Have you heard about him? The journalist that died recently. Was really too sad, honestly, to even like words can't even express how sad it is. But his Instagram account was actually removed. It had 4.5 million followers, and basically there's a website called Wayback Machine where you can see deleted pages. So people tried to use that to see his old posts, but they removed him off Wayback Machine as well. So look how deep this and dark this genocide goes. It persists even after death. That's how evil that these people are. The genocide is even, they're doing it after he dies. You can't even get it on the Wayback Machine, bro. How dark is that?
You know these people, bro. They have like this, and it's not just Israel. If you look at even other aspects of Western civilization, they will really try to bury and cover history, cover the past, and make themselves look like the victors or make themselves look like the good guys. Like, for example, you open 90% of history books about Spain, for example, it will not even occur to you that Spain was ruled by Muslims for 800 years. It was one of the most technologically, mathematically advanced region of the world at that time. But that's wiped. That you don't even hear about that, barely. You'll hear about like medieval or super old Spain, and then all of a sudden you got Isabel and Ferdinand, and we like reconquista, and then we found the Americas. That's where Spanish history starts from. If you look at even the history of Palestine, and the end of the Ottoman Empire, you don't hear that the West carved up the Middle East and that they installed their own kind of regimes in the Muslim world. You don't hear, we always talk about Israel started in 1948 and the problem in Palestine started in 1948. Actually, it started in 1917. So 3 decades before that, when the British took Palestine from the Ottomans and they handed it over to the Zionist movement. So they will always try to kind of alter history, try to sway it and bend it in, for their kind of own objectives. But look, personally, I think this genocide, what's happened since October 7th, this is something, bro, that you can't hide. It's literally, you cannot hide it. Unless you have literally been living in a cave under a rock, no internet access, no social media. Literally, bro, you can't know. Like KSI, when he said that, he was asked about his stance on Palestine. He said, "Oh, I don't know about that." That's a cop-out answer.
Of course it is.
That's you're on social media 24/7, looking at how many followers you've got, looking at how many views you've got on TikTok. There's no way you don't know what's happening in Palestine. I don't believe it, bro. I don't believe it.
It's really interesting what you said about the West or evildoers hiding history. It also, I think, happened a lot with black people and slavery. Like Leopold of Congo, I think he killed like 30+ million. It's crazy how and imagine they had no social media back then. So how many atrocities were just hidden and never spoke about, and all the trauma had to be absorbed that people will never recognize. Like now in the era of social media, at least, of course it's still a tragedy, but at least the people in Palestine, their pain is still being recognized by the world. Before, when there was tragedies, there was no one you just had to take it to the grave. It's just you and God who knows what you went through, you know what I mean? So also like I feel like Muslims, this is kind of like a bit of a controversy, but I don't know if Muslims talk enough about other people who are non-Muslim struggles as well. Because do Muslims know that that's the way to actually convert people to Islam? So for example, let's say people are suffering in, I don't know, South America or Congo. Okay, Congo is a great example. Congolese are not Muslim, correct? But Muslims, all the pro-Palestine Muslims, they do talk about it sometimes, maybe here and there. Some of them do, but they don't always talk about it. But I think this is a bit of a mistake because, Islam is universal. It's a religion that's universal. It's one God for all. So even if a non-Muslim person is under oppression, it's still a Muslim's duty to liberate them. That was the whole point of Islam. That was the whole message, basically. What do you think about it?
I'm sure we know the famous story of the Ottomans, the Irish. They were going through a famine. I can't remember the date, 1870, I think, something like that. And the Sultan of the Ottomans at the time, the Caliph at the time, he ended up sending money and ships of food to the Irish because he found out that they were, going through a famine. By the way, the Ottomans right now, in this point of time, are, they've got huge problems of their own, massive debt crisis. They've got kind of a revolution, independence movements springing up all over the place. Different provinces are trying to split off after being, funded by the French and the British. Still, the Ottomans, they viewed the oppression of any people as people that need to be helped, Muslim or non-Muslim, regardless. And they ended up sending these ships and these money, this money, and the Queen of Britain at that time, she actually tried to block the money and the shipments, but they managed to smuggle through the ships anyway. I think they managed to smuggle through 10 ships. And up until today, there's a football team in Ireland called Drogheda, if I pronounce that correctly, Drogheda FC, and their emblem, their badge is a moon and a star.
Yep.
In honor of the Ottomans, because they remember that the Ottomans helped
100%,
them. Even I mentioned Spain before. If you look at how the Spanish, the Muslims actually conquered Spain, it was on request of the Spanish people themselves. The Visigothic people of Spain, they actually approached the Berbers in modern day Morocco, and they asked for help against King Roderick II. He was like an oppressor over them. And then you have the story of Tariq bin Ziyad. He went over, he liberated Spain and this kind of stuff. Islam and Muslims have always been a safeguard, a liberator.
Yeah.
Not just a Muslim, of humanity.
Not a how can I say, occupier, conqueror in that sense.
See, this is the thing. There's a massive difference between a conquest and an occupation. Like an occupation is a foreign entity coming, taking over land, and their homeland reaping all the benefits of that. That is what an occupation is. That's what an invasion is.
Yeah.
A conquest, in fact, in Islam, it's called fath, which means an opening.
Yeah.
You see, it's not even called like this. When we say conquest in English, it's like has a very gruesome, bloody, violent kind of attachment to it. In Islam, like when you say fath Makkah and the opening of Makkah. It's like, what are you opening? Not only are you opening the land, you're opening the hearts and the opportunity of the people of that land to the message of Islam.
Yeah.
And a lot of people miss this point. The four greatest caliphs of Islam, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, radiallahu anhum, the majority of their caliphates, the subjects were non-Muslim.
Yeah.
Majority. Like we're talking about, Allahu alam, 70, 80, 90%.
Yeah.
Like when Caliph Umar, when he took Egypt, majority of them were Coptic Egyptians, and they remained so for a very long time. It was only generation after generation after, when the people who were upon whom Islam was implemented, did they realize, wow, this is a really just system.
Yeah.
And they adopted Islam as their own very later on, even up until today, bro. After 1,400 years of 1,300 years of Muslim rule in Egypt, up until today, you got 15% of Egyptians who are still Christian.
Yep.
So it shows you that Islam is here to liberate mankind, it's here to liberate people. It's not this occupying colonial kind of mindset that ironically enough, that very same mindset that we are blamed of.
Yeah.
You come in here, Lord Mayor's Muslim, you're taking over the UK, you're implementing Sharon law, you want to colonize the UK like you colonize the rest of the world. Actually, no, that's your guilty conscience speaking. That's not our history.
Yeah.
So,
in fact, I think that the whole story of Islam, the whole the struggles that the Prophet endured, Islam only emerged out of an oppressive system, out of Abu Lahab and all the kuffar of Quraysh that were taking the money from Hajj and openly spreading corruption through the lands. That's how Islam emerged. The message of God was sent because of that. So if anything, Islam emerges as its very roots are liberatory, basically.
I mean, you mentioned this point just before that. Why is it that maybe the Muslim community doesn't champion non-Muslim oppression more? Which is true. You do find that. I'd say, bro, that's largely as well to do with the fact that I know it sounds selfish, but from the mindset point of view, that we've got our own massive issues to deal with. Like we're not even looking outside our own communities at the moment. We're not even looking outside our own houses some of the time. Like you always hear, this is like the number one rebuttal that non-Muslims have.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it's true to an extent. They say, look, if Islam is so great, if Islam is such a liberating system, if Islam has the solutions to all of the problems of mankind that you Muslims claim, well, I don't see it. I don't see that. I see Pakistan, I see Egypt, I see Bangladesh, I see Syria, I see Yemen, I see all these different Muslim countries. I see them broken, third world, backwards, barbaric, undeveloped. This is Islam that you're inviting me to. This is Islam that you're claiming to be a liberator of mankind. And we're saying no. Actually, that is actually a direct result of Western colonization. That is not a result of Islam. Yeah, because the Europeans have the mindset that if you leave religion, you will prosper, and that worked for them to a certain degree. Christianity was dragging them down, keeping them down in certain regards. And when they left Christianity, when they started adopting their own secular, liberal kind of ways of life, they advanced in some regards. With Islam, with the Muslim civilization, it was opposite. At the moment we left our religion, the moment we left our Islam, we didn't prosper like the Europeans. We actually became, the third world decline nation that we are in the world today.
But there's something very funny about these secular people who claim to be critical about religion. Are they really that critical of religion? Like, for example, there's some big atheist figures. I can't name all of them, but let's say, I don't know if you know him, Sam Harris. There's other ones. They are outspoken atheists, Richard Dawkins, all that. They are very proud atheists, seculars. They emphasize religion has done a lot of damage, but they seem to be very supportive of the state of Israel, which is a totally religious fundamentalist state. So if they're so critical of religion, why does it seem that they're not? Correct.
You mentioned Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins, coincidentally, not only are they, they are atheists, obviously. I would, before putting them as atheists, that their label, bro, they are absolute, vehement opponents and enemies of Islam. That if you look at, they have done, as self-proclaimed atheists, they have done more lectures against Islam than they have about the proof of atheism, which is a paradox in itself. But their entire dawah, their entire message is saving Western civilization from Islam, from the barbaric Muslims, from the takeover of the the sand people, blah 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 blah. This is how they speak. Really, I don't know. They are such huge enemies to Islam that it's almost as if any other people on the face of the earth, be it Israel against Muslims, be it the Chinese against the Uyghurs, be it the Rohingyas, the Burmese against Rohingyas, be it about all these different what Modi in India is doing against the Muslims of India. You don't ever hear speaking about Hinduism or Buddhism or whatever the religion or belief the Chinese have. It's anti-Islam, and anybody who is opposing an enemy of the Muslims, for them is an enemy. Yeah, you Muslims are opposing Israel. I don't think they're not. Me personally, I don't think they're doing it from a religious point of view, because even the state of Israel itself, the West looks at the colony of Israel, is a better word. The West looks at the colony of Israel not from the religious lenses, not from the lenses of it's like a God-given biblical New Testament, Old Testament kind of prophecy for them. They look at it from a political point of view. We have a free military base in the Middle East. We use this colony, this base, to exert our influence, to cause divisions, to reap or to divide some Muslims against others. And we have like a huge intelligence base in the heart of the Muslim world. And the West understands the only real threat from their perspective, the only real ideological, political threat that has the potential to rise anywhere in the world today is the Muslim civilization. They're similar to the threat that it posed, just over 100 years ago. So in order to stop the fruition of this threat, in order to keep the Muslims divided, in order to really get a stranglehold over the Muslim world, they will use their puppets in the Muslim world, the regime that we spoke about earlier, and they'll use their colonies, like Israel, and their sub-colonies, like maybe the UAE, this kind of stuff. So I don't think the
UAE is just openly Zionist at this point. They don't still go fuck.
Openly. Somebody sent me a video yesterday of an Israeli lady and a UAE man singing some Jewish poem or whatever it was together. It's like, what are you doing, man?
So let's talk a bit more about the Muslim leaders then. If genocide, robotic genocide, mass industrial scale genocide is not a red line for them, what is? Will they care if the Kaaba, if the Israel reaches the Kaaba, because it's part of their expansion project, Greater Israel. They want part of Saudi Arabia as well. So we're actually defending. We're trying to defend Saudi Arabia, and we get attacked by their nationalists. That's how, you know what I mean. But there is there's a hadith by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that says, at the end of time, after faith has vanished from the earth, the Kaaba will be destroyed and no one will remain to defend or even care about it. Do you think that could happen now? Because if genocide isn't a red line, then...
Bro, to be honest, something more sacramental, something more holy, something more valuable than the Kaaba has already been vilified, desecrated, completely disrespected millions of times over, and that is Muslim blood. And we know the hadith, beautiful hadith, where the Prophet ﷺ, he's making tawaf around the Kaaba, and he is saying how beautiful you are, how beautiful you are, and how beautiful is your sanctity. And the Prophet ﷺ is praising the Kaaba, and then he says, by the one in whose hand is my soul, the blood of a Muslim in the sight of Allah is more valuable than you and your surrounding. So even if the Kaaba were to be destroyed today by whoever, actually something more valuable than the Kaaba has already been destroyed millions of times over, and what's happened? Nothing.
Yeah, because also, by the way, the Kaaba is not some magical thing that God placed. The Kaaba was before Islam, by the way. It was pagans used to follow it. The reason why the Kaaba is important is because it has symbolic importance. Because what happened was the corrupt people before Islam in Quraysh, in the area of Saudi Arabia, they used to manipulate religion to take money and make money off the pilgrimage and keep people, how do you say it? Tawaf.
Tawaf, circumambulation.
Yeah. Keep people going around the Kaaba. So the message of the Kaaba isn't just something we don't understand. It's the return. It's the return to liberate it to, how can I say this? So it's not just a, money-making machine for the corrupt hierarchies. That's what the symbolic message of the Kaaba is. It's not, it's not like a magical thing. It has real, logical reasoning behind it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a site.
Yep.
Of holy virtue that was began at the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Later on, it became corrupted, and idols were put around it. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he came and he changed that.
Yep.
That society of Jahiliyyah to a society of Islam. Jahiliyyah is like the time that existed in Makkah before any guidance, before any Islam. It was literally, like you mentioned, it was left to the whims and the desires and the oppression of Quraysh. Yep. And they manipulated that, and they manipulated and took advantage of the fact that the Kaaba was a focal point across Arabia, and all of the various different tribes, they would come and they would congregate there for the Hajj season.
Yeah.
And it obviously would bring a lot of commerce, a lot of trade, a lot of huge economic kind of benefit.
Yeah.
So the Quraysh, they benefited on that. And I see no difference between that and what the Saudis are doing today. They're trying to have some kind of legitimacy, some kind of hold, some kind of reputation across the Muslim world. And you know what? Whether you like MBS or not, he has done the Muslim world a favor in the sense that he has openly shown the true intentions of Saudi Arabia more than the ones before him. Because his father and grandfather before him, they tried to paint this picture of being the Islamic kind of custodians of Saudi. And MBS has come along now. He said, nah, you know what? Scrap all that. Yeah, scrap all that. The days of Islam and this kind of, really, honestly, the days of Islam and this kind of stuff are long gone. That's not popular with the youth anymore. We're gonna bring in Beyonce. We're gonna bring in Justin Bieber. We're gonna bring in Nicki Minaj and all these kind of other jokers. And this is gonna be the new Saudi. This is Vision 2030. It's a very liberal Western kind of picture of what he has for Saudi Arabia.
The thing is, a lot of people disagree with me when I say this, but my issue with MBS is not liberalization. He did let women drive. He has some progressive elements which aren't bad as it seems. Like, for example, all these gaming expos, all these, opening up isn't bad, is my point. My issue with him is his tyranny, is his execution of journalists, it's his killing of 12,000 kids in Yemen, it's his strong ties with Jared Kushner and funding, basically indirectly, but at this point everyone knows, so basically directly funding Israel armed Israel armed companies. Jared Kushner says that the biggest investor of our companies is MBS. It's the Saudis. So our Hajj money is going to Israel. So we're stuck in it. We're stuck in this. We're stuck in a loop. So the only way to actually liberate Palestine is by liberating Mecca.
Yeah,
again.
To be
So
honest,
we have to repeat Islamic history again.
I agree to some point. I mean, there's a famous quote that says that Israel is the shadow of the Arab regimes, and if the Arab regimes were to fall, Israel would fall. Yeah, because that's all it is. I know it's cliche now. We've mentioned it so many times over the past few years, but the so-called Muslim regimes are the first line of defense of the IDF. We saw this very, very clearly. You mentioned it before in your old videos where the missiles that are being struck on Israel, half of the time it's not even the Iron Dome and the US that's intercepting them. It's Jordan. It's bases in Iraq. It's these other nations that are Saudi when it was intercepting the Yemeni one, Qatar. It's these kind of nations that are intercepting these missiles. So they are the first line of defense of the kind of the Israeli Zionist entity. If they fall, bro, Israel is no more. It cannot exist without their help. It can't.
What I was gonna say is that Saudi Arabia has also succeeded in kind of Wahhabi brainwash Salafi. They use the word Salafi, but they've kind of perverted that word now. They've kind of succeeded in like mind propaganda, like social media propaganda. Like for example, they use people like Shamsi. I don't know if you know about him. You know that the Times of Israel released an article about Shamsi, and they said that this is the ideal preacher, and they said that he's a friend to the state of Israel because he supports strong ties with Israel if the ruler permits it. And I remember he went on live once when everyone was boycotting, and he was putting Starbucks intentionally in the camera. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not perfect when it comes to boycotting, but at least I try and hide it. Do you get me? At least I try and like I have some shame. He like goes out of his way to like show it, which is
it's the symbolism behind it, isn't it? The symbolic nature of boycott is that this is who I stand with, this is who I stand against, and it's a good form of symbolism. He's come along and said, you know what, because MBS is my chacha, my dad's brother, then I'm going to because he's permitted it. It's allowed. Like halal, whatever. Even though he's Algerian.
No, but my point is that he didn't even have to show the Starbucks. He could have at least hid it.
Yeah.
But he went out of his way to like rub it in their face, which is why I don't understand. Like, what do you gain out of that?
Bro, I got many things to say about Shamsi and the Madkhalis and this kind of stuff, But to be honest, like I mentioned before as well, MBS, when he's come to power now, a lot of the funding has dried up for these Madkhalis, for these kind of pseudo.
It's gone to Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, exactly. You got to Nicki Minaj, man. She's asking for a lot more than Shamsi. So because of that,
that's fun.
I mean, when I was back in uni, I was gonna say this very quickly. When I was back in uni days, bro, it was like the pseudo Wahhabi kind of push was really strong.
Yeah.
And now, because you can't defend it no more.
Because
you can't defend it. What are you going to say about MBZ and MBS and Qatar and Morocco and these other nations that have openly made? What are you going to say? You're going to support that? And a lot of these people, because of the rulers, these regimes exposing themselves in their own arrogance and their own ignorance, they've pushed away a lot of the support that they had, even from their own brainwashed people. Even their own brainwashed people are saying, flipping heck, man, I wasn't expecting this. I signed up for genuine orthodoxy Islam. And you've come along, and not only are you bringing in people to twerk next to the haram, look what you're doing in Gaza, look what you're doing in Palestine, and then you're going to say that, forget all that because their aqidah is wrong. They're not on the correct manhaj.
I mean, I definitely think Shamsi's getting paid. Like, I'm not, this is not a conspiracy theory. He was actually in I don't know if he was in the palace, but he was in like, he goes to Saudi, he goes to like official government.
Wallahi, bro, if they come out yesterday, 100%. They had a fat paycheck, I would not be surprised, honestly. It's like Tommy getting paid by
Israel.
Isaiah's now in Israel.
Let's stop talking about the Arab regimes for a little bit because there's not much we can do. We're in the UK, so let's talk about the state of the UK. What do you think about the absolute fascism of arresting grandmas and arresting disabled people, blind people for supporting Palestine action. What do you think?
To be honest, I think, again, similar to MBS, actually, in some parallels, like, see, it's all nice and cute and la-di-da to talk about freedom of speech and freedom of expression and being very open, liberal kind of democracies when it suits you.
Until shit hits the fan.
Exactly. Now that your little child that you've raised and groomed from 1917 up until 48, and then you pass you pass the adoption papers onto the US now, and you're watching this child grow. Now that child of yours is being under the spotlight. Now that child of yours that you've put so much time and effort into safeguarding, into nurturing, into use for your own benefit. Now that your little child is being attacked, and the kind of what's the phrase? The wool has been removed from the eyes of the people. It shows your true intentions now. You don't believe in freedom of speech. You had that rapper deaf to the IDF or whatever, on the Glastonbury.
Blow villain, yeah.
Bro, he got slated, man. He had to come out and make some kind of apology. Yeah. So many people have now. Was it Gary Lineker?
Yep.
Because of his views from the BBC. Yeah, you know what? Scrap it. Even in the US, is it Jimmy Kimmel?
Yep.
Was it him and ABC that got his show removed? Because these people now, there's no such thing, bro, as freedom of speech. And they know that. They knew that if they allowed people to take advantage of their own tenets that they have promised them, if they allowed their own people to take advantage of this idea of freedom of speech that they promised them, you're done, man. Israel's propaganda that has been spending decades on goes down the drain.
That's crazy. We're actually occupied in the UK as well. It's not just Gaza. In fact, Gaza might be the free one, and we might be the occupied.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of truth to it, bro.
Yeah,
there's a lot of truth to it, because here, it's like a form of psychological mental occupation.
Yep.
We will control what you think, what you say, what you are allowed to say, what you're allowed to think, what you're allowed to dream of. Yeah. The moment it starts getting out of line of the world order, the status quo, we're gonna ban you, man. We're gonna shut you up.
Yeah, but people need to remember that I think the UK, with all my criticism of the UK, I know what they've done. I know that they've invaded Africa, Middle East, everything, Asia. I think that Great Britain still has some sort of, maybe it has some standing, because we need to remember that the UK did defeat the Nazis. We do have that spirit. Like when Bob Villain came out and said death to the IDF, I wasn't surprised that he's British, because we have it in us. Do you understand? If anything, we might be able to make a movement from the UK to actually, make world change, because I don't know, I feel like we have it in the British people, of course, not the governments. I feel like we have some potential.
Well, you've got some. I mean, one thing that this kind of the events in Gaza have shown, and it's quite refreshing, actually. You've had loads and loads of non-Muslim, white, middle class, working class, old and young people from across the country, purely for the sake of humanity, purely for the sake of seeing the injustice of what's happening in Gaza, to say, look, of course we stand with these people. It's interesting. Even sometimes we have this assumption that all of Tommy's far-right boys are like completely anti-Islam or completely anti-Muslim. You had some, with the United Kingdom march, you had some people that came with these half Israeli, half British flags. And some of Tommy's own supporters, they came and said, what are you doing? Like, you're supporting people who are committing a genocide. And that is somewhere that you would least expect these people to be sympathetic to this cause. But no, I mean, everybody can see it. With an ounce of humanity, bro, you can see what is going on is wrong. Is there potential? I think there's a lot of good that can come from the kind of wider British society, wider British community. I think, unfortunately, what's going to happen is that there's going to be a lot of surveillance, a lot of pressure from the government, from the policing, to really, really keep these people, quote unquote, tamed. Yeah, like what they're doing with Pal Action.
Yeah, it's really interesting what you said about the Tommy Robinson supporters that were against Israel. I think we kind of need to be careful, because there's a lot of anti-Semites disguised as anti-Zionists. Obviously, anti-Semitism is a loaded word, but I do believe that there are a decent amount of good Jews still left there. We've seen them, the anti-Zionist Jews. I forgot his name, Rabbi I don't know his name, but
I've seen him on.
You definitely know who I'm
Delio's
talking about.
podcast as well.
These some of them met with Hamas. They met with Ismail Haniyeh and
No way.
Yeah.
In Qatar.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was like maybe 10 years ago or something. So they're really down for the cause. In fact, like Islam is the successor of Judaism and Christianity. We are, they're not our enemies. This is, you know this.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to say to you is that people like Candace Owens, people like Dan Bilzerian, I don't think they actually care about Muslim lives. I think they're anti-Semites disguised as anti-Zionists.
I would say further than that, bro. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Dan Bilzerian, even maybe Charlie Kirk before, he was assassinated.
Yeah.
More so, I agree with you. I don't really think they have this kind of moral conscience about, these Arabs being killed somewhere in the Muslim world or whatever. Anti-Semitism, Allahu Alam, I'm not too sure. One thing for certain is that from their perspective, their mindset is, why is our government funding billions, funneling and pumping billions and billions of dollars in a foreign government that's just causing bigger problems for us? Why are they trying to get us in, to engage in war with Iran? Why are they getting us to intercept these missiles? Why are billions of our... And really, bro, for the capitalist, for the capitalist world, it does come down to money. Why is money being sent abroad causing us further problems when the US is in a massive, massive swamp itself? It's got huge problems to deal with itself. Some of those billions, if you pump them into the kind of situation that the US is in, it'll be much better for us. I think that's the perspective that they're coming from. It's not really from a humanitarian, more from an economic point of view.
At some point, it's just a lot of people, they say they don't care about politics, but when it actually affects them, then they start caring. It's kind of like that. Like it started actually like, wait, this is affecting my life. Okay, I start to care. I think people who don't care about politics though, and I think that's a lot of people say that neutrality is taking the side of the oppressor. I think that people who they say, I just don't want to think about that. I don't want to think. I think this is very dangerous because when first it's Palestine that's going to get genocided. Then maybe, I don't know, someone else. Maybe it's Egypt. Maybe it's until everyone gets picked off and then wait, it's happening to us. No one's here to hear us because you didn't care when it was happening to others. You know what I mean? So yeah, let me just ask another question about... Okay, do you think that Muslim influencers, celebrities, and ulama, you could talk about scholars after, but start with Muslim influencers and celebrities. Do you think that they've done enough? Do you think that they've used their voice enough during this genocide?
To be honest, bro, it's a bit of a deep question, and like, bro, I can only speak about myself first and foremost. If I sit here in front of you and say, you know what, I think I've done enough, like, you still got kids who are starving. You still got people who are undergoing a genocide. Like, what does enough even mean?
No, we felt.
I'm gonna, bro. After this, we're gonna, go back to our cozy beds, nice hot meals, chilling, whatever, having our own kind of, exactly. What have we really achieved? Now, can I hand on heart say there are certain messages that me, myself, you yourself, other influencers and this kind of stuff on social media out there have put out that have helped in the Palestinian cause? Inshallah, we hope so. Yeah, that's one thing that we can say, oh Allah, from the very small action that we have tried to do for the sake of your deen, for the sake of your ummah, for the sake of the oppressed people, we have tried. Yeah, we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts these actions from us. Then on the other side of that, you have people, bro, who, me personally, I think have used their platforms really, really poorly. Wallahi, really poorly. Like, you've got no names, you've got millions of followers, and you are unable even to mention the word Israel. What good is your platform? What good is your platform if in the middle of a genocide,
Yeah.
you can't even mention the person who's doing the genocide. You've had other people who have come on like...
I know you're talking about Mufti Mek. I got a lot of criticism on that video because they were like, "Oh, but he makes dua, he talks about Palestine in his speeches." You know that in the Quran, dua always came after the fight, the struggle. Dua doesn't come. If the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam just sat there and make dua, yeah, let's free the from the kuffar of Quraysh. You can't just make dua and do nothing. That's not how it works. So,
well, the funny is, bro, with all due respect, if you're watching, what do the people of Gaza need your dua for? With all due respect, who are you? Like the dua of the oppressed. There's a hadith that there's no veil between Allah and the people who are doing dua of the oppressed. Be aware of the dua of the oppressed, because it reaches Allah. Allah accepts their dua. So they don't need your dua, first and foremost. Yeah, number one. Number two, we don't need Mufti Menk and Co. and all other influencers, me, you, whoever, to just speak about Palestine. That, you know, somebody says, "Oh, I've done my part. I've spoke about Palestine." Bruv, I don't care if you spoke about Palestine or not. Every human being and their pet knows what's happening in Palestine. We don't need...
Even Donald Trump sometimes says, "Oh, the Palestinians are going through a lot."
Exactly. Even Shaitan's grandson will accept that. Yeah, you know what? This is bad, man. Like what's happening is going on. This is bad. Even Keir Starmer will say, "You know what? We're gonna have to just accept a Palestinian state." We don't need to speak about Palestine. The Ummah doesn't need more speaking points. We need solutions.
It's action. It's sanctions. It's mass mobilization.
Who from these influencers, speakers, khatibs, have you heard deliver a solution? It's always, oh Allah, help the oppressed. Fine, we accept that. Oh Allah, feed them. Fine, we accept that. Oh Allah, and weaken the enemy. Fine, we accept that. Who's gonna do it? Jibreel, Mikhail, alayhi salam. They're not gonna come down and start fighting against these people. You know what I mean?
100%.
Ma'idah, the food that was sent to Isa alayhi salam and his followers, it's not gonna be sent down to the people of Gaza. And somebody's gonna do this now. Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi, he understood that very well. Umar radiallahu anh, he understood that very well. Sultan al-Hamid II, he understood that very well. Like, we are the ones who need to take action. In order to do that, you need the backing of a society, you need the backing of a system, you need the backing of a nation that is shaped, that is, kind of maneuvers around the idea that it holds, which is Islam. You don't have that, bro, then unfortunately, if you're not even speaking about that, I don't respect you, and with all due respect, I don't rate you, man. Like, you've really done yourself a massive disservice, because in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on Yawm al-Qiyamah, after years of so-called ilm and knowledge and study and talks and preparation, the most you could come out with is a tweet saying, "Oh Allah, deal with the enemies."
Even Abu Ubaidah, he was like, the scholars, all these Arab regimes, all these Muslim regimes with the scholars and governments and vast wealths, you are our enemy on Judgment Day. You'll stand before us on Judgment Day, because without their complicity, without their inaction, Israel would have never been able to do this. So,
I mean, it's like you mentioned, bro. Silence is neutrality. Silence is like if me or you or somebody else out there who is lesser known or whatever didn't speak, that burden in Qiyamah would be less. You, with the influence that you have to the ears and the screens of potentially thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people, for you not to say anything about that, for you not to give a damn good message about what's happening in Palestine, good luck between you and Allah on Qiyamah, because you've got a really heavy judgment that's coming your way. And not only them, bro, to be honest with you, we've all got a really heavy judgment on what's coming our way, because look at what's happened over the past 2 years, and then look at really from all the exertion of action that we claim to have done, we could have done a lot more, really, if you think about it in the grand scheme of things.
Let's talk a bit about Sudan, and what do you think about the situation in Sudan, and why do you think that's not getting the attention it needs? Do you think that the Muslim Ummah should also have a more radical approach to Sudan?
Bro, I mean, in Sudan, you've got the two factions. You got the National Army, you got the RSF. Hamati and what's the other guy's name? Bashir. Is it Bashir? I can't remember now. One is backed by the UAE. The other is backed by various different other sides within the Muslim world. And by the way, their backers are other European and Western nations, including the US and the UK. This is an internal conflict that's now turned into a civil war between different regions, different nations of the world that are vying for power. Yeah. And unfortunately, in the middle of all this chaos, in the middle of all this kind of conflict, you have, as is always the case, tens of millions of people in Khartoum, in Darfur, and in the rest of Sudan as well, that are the unfortunate innocent victims of all of this. You got, women getting raped. You got children getting orphaned. You got people. I just watched, seen an image of a video today of a man hung on a tree being tortured just for fun. Just for fun. Yeah. So again, unfortunately, it comes back to that point. Like, who is going to be the protector, the maintainer, the securer of the Muslims? Yeah. Who is it? We don't have anybody today, unfortunately, to stop foreign entities interfering in our lands, causing bloodshed, causing mischief for what? For gold? Yeah, for power, for gold, for political,
for more Burj Khalifa to get taller.
Yeah, exactly. Bro, UAE has become the largest funneler of gold from Sudan into UAE, and you can buy that like without receipts.
Yep.
You don't have to do that, and they're getting that almost for free, bro.
And it's a shame that Muslim people still go to the UAE and to promote it and take pictures and what's that word? Like, make it look nice. Promote it.
Yeah, bro. They're like the unfortunately, I don't know if these people are. It's easy lives for them. Yeah. It's views for them. It's money for them. It's a certain acclaimed lifestyle for them. And I wouldn't be surprised, bro, if these people are being paid by the UAE government, just like Israeli is paying some of his stooges, money for every view, for every video that they release. Wallahi, I wouldn't be surprised with that. These people are the biggest problem, the biggest obstacles for the revival of the Muslim Ummah. Yeah. In fact, there's a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned, إِنَّمَا الْإِمَامُ جُنَّةٌ, only the Imam is a shield. The Imam here meaning the Sultan, the Khalifa of the Muslims. يُقَاتِلُ مِنْ وَرَائِهِ وَيُتَّقَى بِهِ, that behind him you fight and behind him you are protected. Some of the ulama, they say that the inna here means that only, there is no protection or kind of defense for you as an ummah without the Sultan, without this Imam. You don't have that, brother. Unfortunately, we've seen the repercussions of that. Because we are an ummah of 2 billion refugees, essentially. We're an ummah of 2 billion refugees that are divided between these 50 or so power-hungry villains. And unfortunately, we as an ummah are the victims amongst all of this. Yeah.
And like, to go in more details about what's going on in Sudan, like graphic details, it's people getting buried alive. It's people. I've seen a video of a doctor have to swim through because, all his property has been taken, the ships, the boats. So he has to swim through like a water full of mud just to help a injured child who was shot by the UAE's forces. Like, it's insane. But I like your point there about we need a new ummah, we need a new leader. Do you think that Zoran Mamdani in the New York City, have you heard about him? Do you think that Zoran Mamdani, Jeremy Corbyn, Zara Sultan, do you think that these Western movements have any potential to sort of revive that?
Revive
a sort of mass mobilization movement of...
See, what it is, bro, like, fundamentally...
Yeah.
I know you wanted to move on to Pakistan as well. And it kind of links in slightly.
Yeah.
Like, fundamentally, bro, all of these ideas, campaigns, movements are still within the Western kind of infrastructure, the Western institution that is created all over the world. So they're not really going to bring to the table anything radically new.
Like, this is where I disagree, because I think that now we've grown up in the West. All we know is the West. We're not going to go back to Saudi Arabia or go back to the UAE and liberate it from there. It's just not possible. I feel like our best shot, and there is some sort of, the ball is building up. Our best shot is to create a movement from here, because Zara Sultan and Jeremy Corbyn's party did have potential. I heard they were falling out and stuff, but if not, then reform is going to sweep.
So look, when you talk about change, and potential, I agree with you we are here right now in the UK, and there's a lot we can do here from the UK. I'm not kind of denying that point. But when we talk about change in the Muslim world, like for example, let's say that you do form a very popular, successful campaign movement and this kind of stuff. Even then, there will still have to be influence of what is happening in the Muslim world, because real change, when we're talking about real change, is going to come, has to come from the Muslim world. I.e., real change of the Muslims has to come from the Muslim world.
I don't know if that, of course it does, but again, I don't like this idea of like separating Muslims from like humanity. Like a lot of people are like, oh, you don't have to be Muslim to stand up for Gaza, you just have to be human. But who said that Islam is not the pinnacle of humanity? It's, if anything, this allows us to relate to others. This allows us to expand more, because if we only focus about our region, then we're never gonna, you know what I mean? But Islam was not only revealed to people in the desert.
True, you're right. But when I say like the Muslim world, so I agree with you. Islam, as a Muslim, you can have, and you should have, you have to have concern for conflict, for oppression over Muslims and non-Muslims. What I'm trying to say is the only solution for Muslims and non-Muslims has to come from Islam. Do you see? Because you're not going to be able to deliver solutions to Muslims or non-Muslims from the institutions, from the ideologies of the other. And in fact, these institutions have been designed. The reason why the Muslim world and Palestine and the wider conflicts that are happening in the non-Muslim world as well are occurring is because of the design of the way that the world is.
But the problem is that some of what the West is doing now is more Islamic than Islamic countries. Like, for example, the level of equality here, you know, in our country, in Middle East, there's a bigger wage gap. In Pakistan, there's probably like people living in palaces and people who are dead poor. Here, there's more, you know, more equality. The West is actually there's freedom of speech here. There's more, I mean, it's not perfect, but there's more freedom of speech here. The West is actually implementing more of Islam's values than our countries. So it's not like we're basically we're taking the good stuff and we're leaving out the bad stuff from their ideology, because theirs isn't. Of course, it has many issues, but that doesn't mean it's all bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, nobody's saying it's all bad, but I think it comes back to the fundamental point of what do we mean by change?
Yeah.
So for me, when I say change, I'm very, very specifically talking about the re-implementation of an Islamic system in the Muslim world. From that base, from that starting point now, you can then have helping, like you mentioned earlier, the plight of the Congolese, the plight of the people in Haiti, and the plight of the people in Gaza, in Kashmir, and Burma, and the rest of the world. Now, how you go about coming to that establishment of this new system, of this new ideology, I mean, to be honest, this is a podcast in itself, which I would love, wallahi, I would really love to get into. But in a very short summary, you are going to require the removal of these regimes, probably through a mass revolution or a military coup, and I'm not calling for violence here, I'm calling for a bloodless coup, where now, even from the seats of the UK, remember, these 4-5-star generals in Pakistan, for example, where do they study? They study down the road in Sandhurst.
Exactly.
Study down the road and you know, in the US, you can have influence over them. I did a video like last week, I don't know if you saw it or not, about Shahbaz Sharif, the guy who nominated Donald Trump for the
I was going to talk about that. Yeah.
So I made this video in Urdu. With English subs. And bro, the traction that I got in Pakistan, in Lahore and Karachi, I was like really surprised that I've never made a video specifically targeting like outside of the UK really before. So when I did that in Urdu and when I really made it try to hit the point home for the people of Pakistan, like I can see a direct influence, albeit small, but I can see a direct influence of my actions from the UK that can be had back in the Muslim world. And I think this needs to be our mindset, that we have certain obligations and responsibilities here within the UK, and then we should never underestimate the potential that we have for some kind of influence in the Muslim world.
The thing is, that's funny because my friend went to Jordan and he was showing people my videos, and they were like, and these people came from the West Bank, from Palestine. They came to Jordan on holiday, and they were like, yeah, we know him in the West Bank. So
I think we underestimate, bro, as well, the power or the status of the English language, that for the Muslims, bro, in these kind of third world, quote unquote, third world countries, they are looking at you, they are looking at me, people who have been born and bred here, speaking English, and they're thinking, oh my God, they're speaking about Muslim unity, they're speaking about the regime, they're speaking about the plight of the Ummah, they're speaking about oppressed people. Wow, that's more motivating and uplifting for them to see people like me, you speak about that, than their own imam in their own local mosque, because they're thinking this is like it's a transcendent view that Islam has, and these people have took that on board, and now they're actually delivering that from the streets of London and Stoke. So for them, it's a motivating kind of thing. I think there's a lot of influence that we can have, even from the UK.
Yeah, but I still do believe that change has to, as in a total government change, takeover, non-violent, of course, has to come from the UK. It has to, because, like, as in we, the people, have to get our, how can I say, foot in the government. As in, our demands need to be met, because otherwise we're going to have reform and it's over. Our very survival depends on it, is what I'm trying to say.
What do you think, like, the UK government's going to end the apartheid state of Israel?
I mean,
like, what I would say, bro, that is literally not possible. Because of the designs, because of the way that not only the UK, but the Western Bloc is designed in a way that it ensures the continuation of their policies. You see? And unfortunately, the moment somebody gets roped in to the British government, assuming that they were absolutely sincere to begin with, they leave like they leave like
but I feel like majority of the people, even the white working class, and a lot of people say, oh, the white working class are against us, so they're just racist. These are the people we have to win. These are the people who have to show that no, Nigel Farage wants to lower taxes, he wants more money, he wants less into the NHS, he wants your money. We need to show these people that we are the way. This is how we get the mass mobilization. Like, this podcast called The Revolutionary Pod. We need a revolution. Maybe it isn't not like the French did it, but we need something, because things can't go on the way they are. Things are going to collapse. AI is going to take jobs. The economy is going to collapse, and then you have one wrong thought about Israel, the police are going to be at your door. You get me?
Yeah.
It's just something needs to happen. So yeah, how long does it say on that?
2 minutes, 10 seconds.
Okay. Do you want to leave us with any like final notes or anything you want to ask me, or anything?
Anything I want to ask you,
or anything you want to talk about? You wanted to talk about anything?
To be honest, bro, I'd say really it does go back to some of the latter points that we've just spoken about, which is we've got a lot of potential here.
Yeah.
Your platform, my platform, maybe
others as well.
Yeah, reaching out to other people, like what you did, like reaching out to me. That's like motivated me now even to reach out to other people. Like, because I don't know, for me personally, like I don't usually reach out to like other people online, and I should. You see, like you did with me. So for me, it's like, okay, this is something flowing in the right way now. There's a lot of interaction, really good interaction that we can be having between, just a handful of people on social media, influencers, this kind of stuff. Bro, you can reach millions of people. Why aren't we doing that? Why don't we have more of a collaborated effort between each other, where we are having these discussions at the very least? We can disagree, no problem. Let's have these discussions. At least we're not discussing about, I don't know, some of the rubbish about, I don't know, like a football podcast or something like that. No offense. No offense to the...
We watch, what's it called? SBS? What are they called? I don't know. There's good football podcasts.
I don't know.
I get you 100%. We definitely, because there's a lot of people that think like us. We definitely need to have a bigger network, because I don't want to be, we can't be alone. We can't do this alone.
100%.
You know what I mean? But bro, it's been great having you on.
It's gone fast.
Yeah. Do you want to shout out your your social media handles or anything?
Yes, they are all Lukman, so Luqman, and then another N _97. That's X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
Yep.
Inshallah.
Thank you, bro. It's been the Revolutionary Pod, and we're out.